Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. First, to answer your most burning question, about 6.5 minutes.
Oh.
You can start timing me now. I really want to take this opportunity to thank CHA for this amazing recognition. However, it is somewhat embarrassing to be recognized for doing something that I loved and with a certain knowledge that I didn't do it alone. Two groups of people made this possible. The first is my congregation, the Franciscan Sisters of Mary, who, as you heard, who in 1986 entrusted me to begin FSM healthcare. I neither expected nor had a right to expect it, but it was truly the greatest privilege and the most gratifying time of my life. The other group, of course, is the people of FSM, both past and present, employees, physicians, and volunteers, more than 33,000 strong. These are the people who bring life to our mission, which states, through our exceptional healthcare services, we reveal the healing presence of God. Being given this award prompted me to think back over my life in healthcare, starting when I arrived at our St. Mary's School of Nursing in Madison, Wisconsin in 1956. I came from a family of meager means, and nursing school was one of the few options open to me as a young woman in the 50s. I arrived knowing very little about the adventure that was about to begin for me. As students, my classmates and I entrusted ourselves to the nuns, and those extraordinary women exemplified the finest aspects of the profession. The sisters taught us competence coupled with compassion, knowledge sharpened with intuition, and discipline tempered by love. And above all, they imbued us with a deep and lifelong respect for the people that we served. When I think about how much has changed in the nearly 60 years since I graduated, it seems like a different world. But there's one thing that hasn't changed, and that is within every one of our nursing students, the ardent desire to help people. We weren't in it for the money. We were in it to be in service to the people in need. And I suspect that the same is true of most people in healthcare today. I am 80 years young now, and this may be I know, I look pretty good. And this may be the last time I publicly address such a large gathering of Catholic healthcare leaders from around the country. And as often as I do, I will be blunt. But I know that I am not alone in what I will say. If Catholic healthcare is to survive, and if it is to remain true to what has defined it through the years, it cannot become all about the money. The primary motivation of Catholic healthcare must be this: to be of service to people in need. Having said that, no matter what your faith tradition or belief system, I suspect that you've heard the story of Jesus and the leper. In ancient times, lepers were outcasts from society, forced to live outside the limits of the city. They had no rights whatsoever. They were shunned by society. They were isolated, alone, and left to die a miserable death. They were the other. In the Bible, a man with leprosy appears abruptly in front of Jesus and says, "If you are willing, you can heal me." And despite the societal taboos and the stigma of the disease and the threat of contagion, Jesus is fully present to the leper. He extends his hand and touches the leper, touches him, and says, "I am willing, be healed." When Jesus places his hand on the leper, the man's leprosy vanishes. The fact that he is cleansed of his disease means that he can be restored to his proper relationship with his family, with his community, and with God. In other words, the leper regains his life. Centuries later, St. Francis of Assisi overcame his fear of leprosy and the revulsion of lepers when, upon encountering a leper, he saw the embodiment of God's beauty beneath the external manifestations of the disease and found a human person to be loved and cared for tenderly. At our very core, that's what we must be about in Catholic healthcare. As a ministry of healing, we must be present to the lepers of our day, those people shunned by society, the immigrant, the mentally ill, the poor, the other. As a ministry of healing, can we see God's beauty in the homeless man, filthy and covered in his own waste? Can we restore hope and meaning to him? If you are willing, you can heal me. I am willing, be healed. Can we see God's beauty in the angry, shouting woman in the emergency department? Can we be present to her until she is transformed to a calm and reflective individual? If you are willing, you can heal me. I am willing, be healed. Can we see God's beauty in the disruptive staff nurse so that over time she grows to become the highly competent president of one of our hospitals? If you are willing, you can heal me. I am willing, be healed. It's not easy. It never was. It never will be. People go into healthcare because they want to make a difference. And in Catholic healthcare, they can make a difference. The nuns from whom I learned nearly 60 years ago were merely passing on a model that has existed for more than 2,000 years. It is yours now to pass to the next generation with love. Tell them, please, that the primary reason we exist is to be of service to people in need. Tell them, please, to never waver in the commitment to the poor, the vulnerable, the other. Tell them, please, that Catholic healthcare must be willing to heal as Jesus healed. Are you willing? Thank you very much.